Out Team USA and the roster because a social media post went out there and it's actually caused some controversy. While I'm like, really? This is controversial? This is the take? And then I saw some of the choices that some fans are making out there where you can tell there's blatant agenda.
What happens when a single social media post from a sports governing body lights a fire that spreads across the entire internet? It's a story of a glaring omission, a furious fan base, and a question that nobody can seem to answer. Why would you leave your biggest star on the bench when you're trying to promote the game? This is a story of USA Basketball's now infamous training camp graphic, a post that managed to unite fans in confusion and outrage. The organization announced an 18-player roster stack with the most talked-about names in basketball. From established Olympians to sensational newcomers like Caitlin Clark, Paige and Angel Reese, all set to attend a crucial training camp from December 12th to 14th in Durham, North Carolina. Yet, the promotional graphic featured only 3 faces: Khalil Copper, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young. The immediate and visceral reaction from the online world was a clear indicator that this was more than a simple oversight. It was a profound miscalculation. If you think this is just about a picture, you're missing the whole story. Stick around because the truth behind this controversy will change how you see the business of basketball forever.
Caitlin Clark finally going to emerge in a competitive setting in a training camp that they're going to have right here. Let me just give you the specifics. Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark hinted that she would participate in Team USA basketball activities during the WNBA offseason, following the conclusion of her team's 2025 campaign. Initially, the thought was she was referring to USA basketball training camp in early March 2026, which is a precursor to the 2026 FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament.
And before we dive deeper, if you're passionate about the stories that shape sports, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. This camp, to be led by new national team head coach Lawson, is a key evaluation opportunity for managing director Sue Bird as she looks to build a team for the 2026 FIBA World Cup. The roster itself is a fascinating mix of generations, featuring 10 players, including Clark, Ree, and USC's Guji Watkins, who will be making their senior national team camp debuts alongside Olympic gold medalists and other seasoned veterans. This blend of youth and experience made the choice of imagery even more puzzling. The graphic, in focusing on a very select group, failed to visually represent the exciting transitional phase that Team USA is currently in. A phase has captured the imagination of a new generation of fans. The backlash was instant and brutal. Fans flooded social media with comments expressing their pure dismay, unable to understand the logic behind the snub. But this was more than just fan outrage. It was a glitch in the matrix of sports marketing. Why exclude the one player guaranteed to generate the most clicks, the most views, and the most engagement? It was a move that felt so counterintuitive. It had to be intentional. And that's when the top sports analysts started to weigh in.
Clark over Chelsea Gray in competitive basketball? ? Some dude says, suggesting the veteran guard Chelsea Gray deserves a starting role over Caitlin Clark. Look, I've only been locked in for a couple of years. There's not a world where I'm starting Gray over Caitlin Clark. Not a galaxy far, far away. Nowhere. Caitlin Clark over Chelsea Gray in competitive basketball? 127 times out of 10. Yeah, easy.
Christine Brennan, a renowned sports columnist and author of a book on Clark, didn't hold back. She called out USA Basketball for a massive strategic failure. She wrote, and I quote, "This is so interesting. If USA Basketball really want to go all out promoting WBB, bring new fans in, and get unprecedented attention for a team that dropped in TV viewership at the Paris Olympics, they would have added a photo of one other player to this graphic." But no, Brennan, with over 40 years of experience covering Olympic sports, pointed out that a national governing body has 2 missions: to win medals, but also to grow the sport. And in this case, she accused USA Basketball of utterly failing at the second part of its mission. Online, the sentiment echoed Brennan's. Fans criticize a move as a failure of marketing 101, with one fan on X starkly pointing out the absurdity of leaving the most popular female athlete on the planet out of the picture.
On this team, I don't know how this is even a debate. This post got put up as a potential, starting five. All right, Caitlin Clark at point guard, Kaylee Copper, Jackie Young, Derica Hamby, and Aaliyah Boston. And then, of course, these are the reserves on the team, right? And, my God, the Paige Becker supporters, of course. And I don't want to throw Angel supporters in this because I've seen a lot of actually put Angel and Caitlin on the court.
The digital town square was united in its confusion, seeing the post not as a celebration of champions, but as a deliberate act of exclusion. Now, at this point, you might be wondering if there's a simple explanation. And on the surface, there's the three players featured on that graphic, Copper, Plum, and Young, all have one thing in common that Caitlin Clark doesn't. They were all members of the U.S. team that won the gold medal at the Paris Olympics. From a traditionalist perspective, it makes sense to highlight your proven champions, your established veterans who have delivered on the world stage. But this is where the story gets complicated, because this isn't the first time Clark's name has been at the center of a Team USA controversy.
And I don't want to throw Angel supporters in this because I've seen a lot of actually put Angel and Caitlin on the court at the same time. But somehow this got labeled as rage bait. And I'm not sure how this is controversial, but here we go with some of the dumbass takes that came out of this, right? It's got over 200,000 views on it now. Paige, okay. Young, Copper, Cameron Brent, really? After being injured like that?
Remember the 2024 Paris Olympics? One of the biggest stories leading up to the games wasn't just about who made the team. It was about who was left off. Caitlin Clark, the #1 draft pick and a national phenomenon, was not on the roster. That decision sparked outrage from legions of new fans, with some even calling for a boycott of the Olympic basketball contests. This created a dangerous dynamic where supporting a single player was somehow positioned in opposition to supporting the entire team. It highlighted a major downside of the so-called Caitlin Clark effect: the risk of fan base that rallies behind one athlete to the exclusion of all the other incredible talent in the league. That previous controversy cast a long shadow, making this latest graphic feel less like an innocent celebration of veterans and more like a continued pattern of reluctance to fully embrace the sport's new reality.
Reed, there's only one point guard, and she plays in Indiana. Stop it. And then you have the other thing, the do you want to grow women's basketball, the popularity of it or not? And Team USA, and do you want the ratings and all that other stuff? And Caitlin Clark's obviously going to bring all of that, right? And you can't use this as an excuse. I mean, there was word out there that the committee, when they left her off the 2024 team, were scared to put her on the team because if she didn't play enough, they didn't want to have to hear about it.
But the argument that this training camp graphic is just about honoring past Olympic achievements doesn't hold up under scrutiny. This camp is about the future, specifically building the team for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup. Furthermore, Clark is coming off a season where a groin injury forced her to sit out the majority of the WNBA playoffs. This December training camp marks a highly anticipated return to a competitive setting. If you're trying to build hype for your future team, why would you not feature the player whose return to court is one of the most compelling storylines in all the sports? It's a baffling decision that feels like a missed opportunity of epic proportions. The camp is explicitly an evaluation opportunity for the future. And the roster is filled with young debutant talent like Guju Watkins, who it's important to note will not even participate on the court as she recovers from an ACL injury, but is attending to learn and integrate into the program.
Injured and this and that and the other, and I'm not talking about far as the poster goes. I mean, just literally having been put on the team right now, just a question, if Juju is still recovering from an ACL, how can she be part of this? Surely she can't play. Yes, she can attend, but if she takes to the floor She surely risked serious injury. Well, they all risk injury in playing in this. It is what it is. Now, a lot of people are bringing up people that aren't even in this. I mean, Asia and Stewart.
This context makes a decision to spotlight only the established past rather than the promising future. Even more strategically confusing, they are promoting a camp focus on new talent without visually featuring the most prominent of that new talent. Some have speculated that perhaps Clark's own camp requested a lower profile as she returned from injury. But that theory feels flimsy, a desperate attempt to make sense of a senseless situation. The truth is, this incident fits a pattern that many observers have noted for a while now. There seems to be a reluctance, if not an outright refusal, from some established corners of the basketball world to fully lean into the marketing power of Caitlin Clark.
WNBA old guard that's trying to desperately hold on. No. I mean, y'all, I don't know if you old WNBA fans understand this. Y'all are getting voted off the island. That's happening right now. We're yeah. The actual real sports fans have shown up. Peace, you're out.
It's as if they have been given a golden ticket and are afraid to punch it. One article even pointed out the sheer absurdity of it, stating, "It certainly seems like the biggest basketball star in the WNBA should be included." This isn't just about one social media post. It feels symptomatic of a broader cultural friction within the sport. The WNBA itself is on the cusp of significant change with a new collective bargaining agreement on the horizon, promising franchise expansion, increased salaries, and better player benefits. This is a league evolving, albeit sometimes slowly, to meet new commercial and fan demands. Against this backdrop of progress, USA Basketball's seemingly old-fashioned approach to promotion feels out of step, a disconnect between the institution's protocols and the modern market's dynamics. This brings us to the heart of the issue. This is more than a debate about a social media post. This is a fundamental clash between two different eras of sports. On one side, you have the traditionalists who believe in a hierarchy based solely on past accomplishments and seniority. On the other, you have a new generation of fans and analysts who understand that in the modern media landscape, star power is a currency and engagement is the ultimate metric. By refusing to adapt, USA Basketball isn't just snubbing a single player. They're ignoring the powerful economic force she represents. The force that has sold out arenas and shattered television ratings for 2 straight years. This clash is not unique to basketball. It's a tension being felt across sports and media. The new wave of fans who are being drawn in by compelling personalities and accessible storylines operate on a different engagement model than traditionalists who prioritize tenure and establish hierarchies. For the sport to continue its growth trajectory, a synthesis of these two views is necessary, respecting the legends who built the game while actively promoting the stars who are carrying it into the future. Ignoring either side is a recipe for stagnation. The conversation around this graphic exposes a critical question for the stewards of women's basketball. Do you truly want to grow the game, or do you want to maintain control over how it grows? The evidence is overwhelming. Games featuring Caitlin Clark have consistently been the most watched events of the WNBA season, with millions of viewers tuning in. To ignore that power is not just controversial. It's a failure of leadership and a dereliction of the duty to promote the sport to its maximum potential. As one critical fan put it, nothing says WNBA like a poster featuring Who are these players again? This sarcastic comment cuts to the core of the issue in an attempt to honor a specific type of achievement. The organization risks making a product seem less relevant to the broader audience it desperately needs to attract. The mission to grow the game requires more than just winning gold medals. It requires winning the attention of a crowded sports marketplace. A battle where marketable stars are the most valuable currency any league or federation can possess. So what's the endgame here? The training camp will happen in December with or without Clark on promotional material. But the stain of this controversy will remain. It tells the new fans, the ones who are buying tickets and driving up ratings, that their interest isn't valued. It tells a superstar who has done more to elevate the profile of the sport than anyone in a generation that her presence is somehow conditional. And it tells the world that even when handed a modern marketing miracle, some organizations would rather stick to the old playbook, even if it means losing the game. The long-term risk for USA Basketball is a gradual erosion of credibility and relevance with the next wave of sports fans. If the goal is to build a sustainable, widely popular national team program for the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, then aligning marketing and roster-building strategies with the undeniable forces that are currently energizing the sport is not just recommended, it's essential. Failing to do so could see them left behind by the very growth wave they claim to want to ride. This isn't merely a public relations hiccup. It's a strategic inflection point. The decisions made now in this crucial period transition will define the organization's relationship with its audience for the next decade. Will they be seen as a forward-thinking body that successfully bridges a legacy of its past champions with the superstar power of its future? Or will they be perceived as an institution stubbornly clinging to an insular model, one that prioritizes internal hierarchies over external engagement? The financial and cultural stakes are immense. Sponsors and broadcast partners are investing in narratives and reach by visually sidelining the athlete who provides the largest platform. USA Basketball inadvertently signals to its commercial partners a perplexing lack of confidence in its own most valuable marketable assets. This moment calls for more than just roster selections. It demands a comprehensive strategy that understands a modern sports ecosystem is as much about storytelling and star power as it is about pure athletic merit. The two are not mutually exclusive. In fact, in the 21st century, they are inextricably linked. The endgame, therefore, is about survival in a new era. It's about recognizing that the how and why behind your promotional choices are just as important as the who on your final roster sheet. What do you think? Was USA Basketball right to feature its gold medalists, honoring a tradition of rewarding proven veterans on the world's biggest stage? Or was this a catastrophic marketing blunder, a tone-deaf misstep that ignored the fundamental realities of the current sports landscape and alienated a massive, passionate segment of its potential audience? This is the core of the debate raging online. On one hand, you can argue that respect for the athletes who have sacrificed and achieved the pinnacle of the sport is paramount, and that building team culture means valuing those who have already worn the jersey and delivered under the most intense pressure. On the other hand, you can contend that leadership requires adaptability and that a promotional graphic for a future-focused evaluation camp is precisely the place to generate excitement by showcasing the new energy entering the program. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about the signal it sends regarding the inclusion of all the other debutantes from Angel Reed to Cameron Brink, whose fresh rivalries and playing styles have captivated nation. Let me know your take in the comments below. I read every single one. Do you believe this was a simple, justifiable decision that was blown out of proportion by an online mob? Or do you see it as a symbolic failure to pivot towards a more inclusive and commercially savvy future? The discussion itself is healthy for the sport, but the organizational response to it will be telling. And if you want to stay on top of the stories that are truly shaping the world of sports, from the boardrooms to the locker rooms, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next analysis. We break down the drama, the business, and the brilliance that defines modern athletics. Thanks for watching.